All right, it's 6 o'clock and we have a quorum, so I will get things going. Good. So, to start this off, City Council Committee on Administration Finance, co-host of the Committee of the Whole, will meet remotely on Wednesday, June 9th, 2021 at 6 p.m. for the purpose of discussing the fiscal year 2022 operating budgets and capital improvement plans, specific departments listed below. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place, this committee meeting will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the city's website at salem.com. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the city's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. And I can't wait until we can stop doing this disclaimer. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to watch, listen, or provide comment during the meeting may do so in the following manner. Click the link on the city website to join the webinar with the password 322300, or go to the website link zoom.us/join, and the webinar ID is 854-5150-4946. Followed if prompted by the password we just gave. There's also a toll-free number, and again, there is the same webinar ID. If you are dialing in, you press *9 to raise your hand. This is also being broadcast live on SATV. So, our agenda, the City Council. So, the City Council on Administration and Finance co-posted with the Committee of the Whole met remotely on Wednesday, June 9th, 2021 at 6 p.m. for the purpose of discussing the matters listed below. Notice this meeting was posted on June 3rd, 2021 at 11:39 a.m. This meeting is being recorded. Currently absent from as a member of the committee is Councilor Dibble. He's probably going to come in a little late. That was what he did last night. Also in here with us are Councilors Hapworth, Przewski, and Morcillo, not being members of the committee. And hold on, I just got a request to, yes, so I got to put in a couple more, make a couple more people and two panelists. Just a moment. So I'll sit there. So we have the subject tonight is the fiscal year 2021 operating budget meetings and capital improvement plans for the following departments: collector, police, fire, harbor master, and sustainability and resiliency. The mayor has a time issue today and asked that we go in a slightly different order than was initially posted. So we're going to start with the collector's office. Then we'll be doing the harbor master. Then we'll be going over general capital improvement plans accordingly. And then is fire, police, and the new sustainability and resiliency department. So I see Bonnie, our city collector, who is, and that's tab 4 in your book. And she's lucky enough to be outside right now. So Bonnie, if you want to start with, go through the departmental budget and any changes for this year, please. And unmute yourself first, because can't hear you. There you go.
Sorry, I'm still not used to this.
No
problem. We don't really have any changes this year. We we just have the regular line items that we always do. We have our printing and binding. We have our office supplies, and then we have our education line, which is what we use for Sarah and I to maintain our certifications as both collector and assistant collector. Mm-hmm. We were able to do that this year, doing it remotely, which was good. So we did get another year. And we also, all 4 of us in the office, we got recertified as passport acceptance agents. So that was, the 4 of us are still staying put. It's the same group that we had last year, and we've all been certified. And now that the passport agency is open, we're getting very busy with those again. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, I got to bring mine down there and get it done one of these days soon. in the unlikely event that I ever go anywhere whatsoever. So, any questions for Bonnie? I see her generally when I'm paying my parking tickets, but
Yeah, there's that.
otherwise the collector's office takes care of a whole lot of things for the city. So any members of council wish to ask any questions of her or about the department? Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Bonnie, I just had a question for you regarding last year with what we went through in 2020 with COVID. And many offices were closed for a little bit. Did you notice, did they use the entire budget up for their printing and other supplies where, you know, things seem to differentiate as far as people coming in and just wondering if there was a little surplus left over from last year. And I also want to say thank you for all your hard work in there. All you do a great job. I just received feedback. Some people were interacting with your office and said everyone was really good and professional. I just want to tell you that. And I just want to know if there was any surplus from what we went through last year with the different types of services that we had to do. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for complimenting the office. I do have a very good staff, and they were great through this whole pandemic. We worked the whole time. Unfortunately, that didn't change for us because we still had to get out the same as many bills as we would get out anyway. So anything as far as printing and binding our office supplies, that didn't really change for us because we still had to do everything that we would normally do. None of it changed. The only thing that changed is the way we collected, and that changed over more to helping people learn to do the online. And we still did service people in the office as well, though, if they did need to do cash or were more comfortable with a check. We did stay open the whole time to be able to accommodate everybody.
Okay, thank you. I was just wondering just if there was any differences in the operations of your office from COVID. But thank you.
Yeah, no, everything pretty much had to stay the same because we need to collect all that, and all that still had to go out as far as excise tax bills, real estate bills, demands, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Stayed on the same schedule.
Was there a time that you had to work remotely to do things like that, or did you still have to all go in the office during
We didn't all go in. We could work somewhat from home, like as far as processing lock boxes, that type. But as far as trying to process mail, which a lot of stuff still gets processed because people were still mailing in payments, we did need to be in the office every day because we had to make those deposits and get the checks. We do have a remote check scanner, so we didn't have to physically go to the bank, but we had to get all of the cash into the bank so that everybody could keep getting paid throughout the city. So we did.
All right, thank you.
We did have to keep doing that.
Please tell your staff thank you for your hard work. I appreciate it.
I will. Thank you very much.
It's noticed. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Bonnie or anything that any members want to discuss? Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to Bonnie. And for the record, I too am outside, but my background says that I'm in City Hall. Bonnie, I was just looking real quick. I mean, and it goes without saying, every time I walk by your office, you guys are always great. Unfortunately, I don't work as much as Councilor Turiel downtown, so I don't get as many parking tickets. So I don't have to come in and see you guys all the time. But you guys do a great job. Just a curious question on the outcomes and performance measures on your in how you guys did. Seeing a huge, I mean, I guess like we got the harbor master in later too. Seeing a huge uptake in boat excise tax and mooring slips. Is it just because a whole bunch of people decided to go out and buy a boat last year during the pandemic because that was a way for them to socially isolate themselves, or?
No, that's for online payments, and that was the only way that they could pay.
Okay.
So that's why all our figures went up, because most people were going to the online to pay because it was the easiest way to do it during the pandemic. So.
Okay. So it wasn't like we saw a bunch of people in Salem go out and buy more boats. It's just the way it.
Right, it was the way it was collected. The biggest increase we had with municipal lien certificates, And that reasoning is because everybody was refinanced with the rates being so low.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we did do an awful lot of municipal lien certificates last year too, but
Okay. Thank you.
thank you.
Anybody else with any questions? And if there are none, I'd look for a motion from a member. Councillor Flynn.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the operating budget for the collector's office for a total of $257,622.76. And that's for personnel and expenses totaled.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Seconded by McCarthy. So Councillor Flynn moves to approve the collector's personnel budget of $249,322.76 and expenses of $8,300 for a departmental total of $257,622.76. Seconded by Councillor McCarthy. Seeing no further discussion. Councillor Riccardi.
Yes.
Councillor McCarthy.
Yes.
Councillor Flynn.
Yes.
And Councillor Terrell, yes. So on the matter of the collector's office budget, we have 4 councillors voting, 4 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Thank you. So, thank you, Bonnie. Now you can go enjoy the outdoors and be rid of us.
Thank you. Have a nice night.
Thanks, you too. So next is tab 14 in your book, which is the Harbor Master. Not having a boat in the water this year, I don't see as much of him, but Bill McHugh is here to talk about the department. I see him down in the right-hand corner of my screen. If you can walk us through changes for this year and what's gone over the last year and how you coped with last year's issues. So you have to unmute though. We cannot hear you yet. How's that?
Sorry about that. I had to drop my service up here on the desktop. I'm on my phone right now, so bear with me. We just lost internet on the island. So thank you, Councilor Toriel, and good evening, everyone. Last year, we did reduce our budget due to the COVID. We still had a very robust year as far as calls for service, but we were able to get through it. When we did level fund our operating budget, we did leave the reduction in there, so we still are experiencing a reduction, but I think we can get through it. You know, one of the things that I've said before, our capital improvement fund, which is derived from winter boat storage, is really the thing that saves us. We depend on, you know, keeping the equipment in operating shape, in ready at all times. We do keep at least two boats in the water all year round. So we did make it through. We're right now, we're commissioning, still commissioning vessels, making slight tweaks. So we're going to use all of our budget, basically right up until June 30th. We might have a little left over in fuel, but that will be dependent on how many vessels go out during the weekends. We've had tremendous amount of more calls for service the last 2 years with everyone turning to the water. We are seeing an uptick in mooring applications. So we do have more vessels on the water and continue to increase that number more than Salem. All the marinas are full. Vessels are still being commissioned, recreational vessels going in the water. So we've yet to see everybody in, but we've had a robust year. I just want to throw a call out to my crew. One of the things that we really appreciate the city's support in our Marine Division. We just saved a life today at 3:30. A young woman went in the water up by Baker's Island. Concerted citizen made the call from Baker's. We have a really good relationship with the citizens out there. They recognized the boat unmanned doing circles. And we went out approximately 3:30 with the boat and pulled the person from the water. having the right equipment and being able to keep it running is everything in this industry. Again, a life was saved due to the support that Salem gives this department. So I want to thank everybody for that. As far as the personnel, we did uptick. We had a reduction last year in the total cost for part-time personnel to try to comply with the budget reduction request. We increased it a little bit this year by just about $9,000 or $8,000, excuse me, a little over $8,000. And that's going to be due to additional training and anticipated activity. As we all know that, there's going to be a police reform, or there is police reform legislation, and there'll be certain things implemented that are going to be required. And the Post Commission will probably let us know a little bit more about that after July 1st. We're poised through the MPTC to get our guys through that. And I'll be working with Chief Miller as well. So there will be a little bit of extra labor. I'm hoping that we got enough in there, but we're usually pretty good at coming in on budget.
Okay. I saw in the capital plan this year you're relocating the dock house. What's up with that?
So the dock house is located, for those that don't know, on the Winter Island Pier. During periods of inclement weather and storm surge, that dock house becomes very susceptible to flooding. The guys do need to man that to get weather. They can come up to the office, but then they're farther off the water. Usually by that time, we have cleared Winter Island and moved down to Blaney Street or into South River. But the fact is they still need to be able to access some of the data in there. Before it becomes a floating vessel and we need to put navigation lights on it, we decided that we'd put it to higher ground. Collins Engineers gave us a proposal with some engineering concepts, and we went ahead and submitted that for a capital improvement request. A couple of things. It's impossible to do the proper maintenance on that particular structure as it's cantilevered out off the pier. And again, it's low, and it's just a matter of time before it gets taken out by Sea State.
Okay. Any questions for our harbor master? Any comments? I'm the person who's been on the water the last few years, but I'm not on there this year. And if anybody's looking to buy an old 25-foot boat, give me a call. Any members? Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to Bill. Feel like you and I have to deal with each other probably at least once or twice a week.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm not.
For Bill. I'm sorry for Bill.
Yeah, well, we could be sorry for Bill. Whatever's going on, whether it's the Blaney Street parking lot or some issue someplace along the water, I've always said that the Ward 1 councilor, whoever he or she may be, needs a boat because Ward 1 runs all along the water. And plus, there are a few residents on Baker's Island. There's one registered voter out there, and I should be able to go out and visit that voter. But all that being said, I think, Bill, it's, your department's 24/7, unlike some of the other harbor masters' offices that surround us. When you look at the mutual aid calls and something like that, sometimes in the winter, you guys are the only ones out there responding to any of the calls. So, and I think that as you just said, it speaks volumes to you and your staff's commitment, but us as a city, our commitment to make sure that the water is in our harbor is safe. And we do it without, you guys do it without any fanfare, and you guys just do your job. And I have the luxury of being able to have purchased my wife's family home a bunch of years back, and I get to see it firsthand from my porch, and I'm very fortunate to do that. But I also see what goes on out there, and it's anyone who wants to stop by on a Saturday or Sunday and have a look to see what goes on in the water out here on a nice weekend, you'd be amazed at how many boats are actually out there and how you have to keep track of them. So I guess my only question is we're level funded on expenses, but you referenced having to take more training. Did you shift money around on the line items? I have to look real quick, or is that just something you were able to absorb someplace else?
So I think most of the expense on the training will be paying part-time wages. which we did increase. The MPTC has indicated, I sit on the Harbor Master Training Council for the state, and the MPTC has indicated that they will cover the costs at this point.
Okay.
And so, it was nothing that we could include in an operational budget, but I did include extra part-time labor to make up for the guys when they're taking extra training.
Okay. So you'll get it recouped on the back end?
I mean, we have extra money in our personnel budget. I don't know if it's going to get recouped, but we did put an additional $8,000 in our part-time line item. The indication is right now from Chief Flurillo, who's the director of the MPTC, is that there'll be a bridge academy of approximately 200 hours where there'll be a portion online. I'm not going to hold him at that because it needs to be approved, but he's indicated that he has a curriculum already set up. So I'm going to be looking to reimburse my part-time labor for the time they're taking the extra courses, and there will be some in-person live training as well.
Okay. And how did, I know you said, you referenced it, but how did we do with the boat storage on Winter Island relative to, I know that money's been very helpful to you and your department. Was the amount of boats being stored, was it, did it hold about the same, or did we see an increase, or?
Slight increase. I anticipate we're going to have even more this year just by the calls for and requests for space. We're doing right around 90,000. We might get a little bit better than that. What it did do is we were fortunate enough to be awarded a port security grant for a new vessel, and that was brought before you, the council, last spring. We were able to use that money as our match to build that vessel. That vessel is being built right now. So it's just another example of, using money from the waterway to put back in so that we can do our job and stay with the best possible equipment. It'll also, I've covered this before, but it will also give us an opportunity to take the other primary winter boat, which is the Landing Cat, which was purchased with a port security grant back in 2012. It'll give us a chance to get that out of the water for a little bit more protracted dry dock period. Which is important because that boat really doesn't come out of service at all.
Awesome. Great. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so a couple other things just to check, because you're the part kind of closest to these. Where are we at right now with the program for with the process for redoing the Willows Pier? I know that kind of has tied to the state as well, or at least it has been. And then also, how is this is something that I think was also disrupted last year, but we're shopping for that second ferry. So
the second ferry is on an FTA grant. Right now, myself and Seth Luttrell are working on the particulars of qualifying. We're mostly qualified to accept the money. This FTA is a Federal Transportation Administration grant, and it comes with some strings attached. There's specific uses. The tricky thing is it's very hard to find a suitable vessel for the amount of money we were awarded. I'm just going to be straightforward with that. Anything with a current certificate of inspection, which is really what you're looking for, is either not suitable or people want way more money for it. Our own boat, Bowditch, you could probably get over double what you paid for it back before 2010. So that's just to give you an example. And the Bowditch is a Cadillac of that style boat. Gladdinghurn in-cat design. It's a very good boat. So we are working on it. Again, Seth and I are working on some of the new requirements that the FTA put in that are associated with some new regulations. Again, we're going to be qualified for the money. It's just finding that suitable boat in time. And every indication is we may get an extension, but we are looking. I've made some inroads with maybe getting one of the operators, without putting that operator on the spot, a proposal to possibly free up one of their vessels and get a creative charter agreement going. But one thing about an FTA boat, it has to go from point A to point B, so it cannot run excursions, and it makes a business plan tough. So there's a lot of things in the mix. We're on it. We're working on it all the time. Willows Pier. The Willows Pier, we just had a meeting the other day. You'll see in the capital improvement plan, I believe under parks, there is a allocation for earmarked for $900,000.
Yes.
We met with GZA, our engineering consultant, and some regulatory authorities, DEP, CCM, people from the state. And all indications are that they are supportive of the project. Dave Smith is our engineering consultant, is finalizing some of the designs. There's a couple of things that are yet to be worked out, and they're on the regulatory end. This is a fishing pier. The lion's share of it will be paid for by both.
Oops, your connection,
Access be suitable for. Can you hear me?
connection went wonky for a second there.
Okay, you have me now?
Yeah, but you were saying the majority of it would be paid by, and then you went blank.
Yeah, the majority will be paid for by Fishing and Boating Access, the state agency. So it has to be suitable for a fishing pier, which means the height above sea level has to be decided upon. Right now, a lot of structures are built to plus 16 or 17. The new Congress Street Pier is at plus 16. But for a fishing pier, that's a non-starter. It doesn't. So what we're doing is they're going through strength of materials to try to find out the best construction and what the state and the regulatory authorities will negotiate as far as the final height. I anticipated it's probably going to be somewhere around plus 14 to plus 16 or something like that, or maybe, in that area. I would anticipate we'll have the design within the next couple of months, and we'll be getting ready for bids. We had to tow a deadhead, which is a piece of timber that had become dislodged just the other day and landed ashore. It was about 30 feet long, and it was bolted together with another 30-foot section. So I made our appeal that to the state and to the regulatory authority that we be allowed to consider demolition earlier. So that plan is going forth, and Seth Luttrell is working with myself and the engineering consultant and the DEP to bring that forward. That will be part of the city's match. It will count as part of the city's match for the grant. So just to give you a real rough timeline, we're looking at demolition, possibly late summer or fall, and then construction next year after the time of year restriction. But those are rough numbers. Certainly, they're looking to be all finished up by 2023.
Okay, so construction during the 2022 season and opening for 2023.
That is the rough, very rough estimate right now. They think very, very doable to have that operating in 2023.
Okay, good. Thank you for the info. Any other questions for Mr. McHugh? If there are none, I'll look for a motion, but if there are any other questions, I'd like to hear them. Councillor Flynn.
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the operating budget for the Harbor Master for a grand total of $387,781.29 to cover personnel and expenses for 2022.
Second.
Second by McCarthy. Let me just note that down. So Councillor Flynn moves to approve Harbor Master personnel of $343,681.29 and expenses of $44,100 for a departmental total of $387,781.29. That is seconded by Councillor McCarthy. So seeing no further discussion, I'll call the roll. Councillor Riccardi?
Yes.
Councillor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councillor Flynn?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So on the matter of the Harbor Master budget for 2022, for fiscal year 21, we have 4 councillors voting, 4 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Thank you, Bill. Hopefully I'll see you on the water next year.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. And with your permission, I'm going to give the crew extra rations today for a job well done.
There you go.
Definitely.
An extra dram of rum.
Thank you. No, I can't do that. Just rations.
Just the hardtack?
Just the hardtack. No rum. That's later.
All right. Well, they get their rum on the market, I guess. So, oh well. All right.
Thank you.
So we'll start with the fire department. I know the mayor's coming back into this shortly because I know she was hoping to contribute this, but and I also know on this one the Ward 4 councilor has to recuse himself from this particular one since this is his day job. So with no further ado, for the moment, let me just check the tab. The fire department is tab number 12 in your books. And so, again, let the record reflect that Councillor Flynn is recused from this one. Also, I see Councillor Madore has joined the meeting as well. So I'll let the record also reflect that, please. So we have our newly appointed chief, Alan Dion. So if you want to start out and, welcome to the job.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair and Council. Thanks for having me tonight. Kind of new to this, so bear with me. I'm going to give you a little report, and we'll go from what I came up with. Basically, for the activities for the year, it was a surprisingly busy year, even with COVID. Normally, we run about close to 6,300 runs a year. We were responded to almost 5,600, so that's pretty good amount of numbers, considering some of the months the city was very, very quiet and all the restaurants and bars were shut down. So that was pretty significant. We had 19 building fires and we had losses totaling almost $12 million within the city. So even at a lower number of activity, we're still having the fires that we traditionally have in the nature of the businesses. It's not going to change as much as we work to prevent it. The challenges facing the department this year were significant. We had 18 to 20 months of all of us dealing with COVID, and it presented everybody with a lot of challenges, but especially the fire department. Our folks came in and day out back when it was scary. Everybody's hiding under their beds, and our guys and girls were here, including our fire dispatchers and office staff. So I just wanted to recognize the effort that the folks of this fire department put forth during the COVID pandemic. We couldn't have run the city without these people coming into work and serving the way they did. So that was the biggest challenge of the year. Along with the COVID challenge, we've had some interesting times with manning here in the department. Along with our chief, we've had 15 retirements in the last 14 months. So that's been a big brain drain on the department, a talent pool that is unsurpassed by none. They were some of the greatest firefighters and officers that I came on with. They taught me the business. So it's kind of different over here now. We have a lot of new faces. But having said that, the department has many opportunities with the retirements. Came the opportunity to hire 6 recruits. They start Monday at the Fire Academy, and they'll be going there for almost 11 weeks, considering the shutdown in July for 1 week for the holiday. And I'm in the process of hiring 6 more firefighters, hopefully within the next 10 days. We're in the interview stage of the process. That'll bring us pretty close to our staff of 88. In addition to the recent hires, we recently promoted 11 officers, and this weekend I'm promoting 4 more, bringing us to a total of 50 new officers. So, as I said, challenges can be tough, but they also bring opportunities. With the new officers, you get new energy, new vitalized spirit, and a real energized workforce here. People are excited. It reminds me of when I came on the job, we had a big turnover of manpower, and I thought the rank and file were pretty happy to take us on. They called us the Dirty Dozen. I don't know why they came up with that, but it was 12 of us, and we did make a mark. Another project we've been working on over the last 5 or 6 years is an effort that the mayor started with us, is diversity. We're trying to recognize our community. We're trying to make our department resemble our community, and we've hired in the past 7 years 9 Spanish-speaking firefighters, and with the next group coming in, I possibly could get 3 more, bringing our total to 12. And they're an essential part of our department now. They allow us to better communicate and serve the Spanish-speaking part of our community, and we couldn't run this department without them, and I think the police will have the same. We rely on them a lot. So it is a good program, and we're reaching some of our goals for diversity. Capital improvements. This year's been crazy here at the fire department. We finally got a roof on the headquarters, long overdue. It was a big project. They had to take off 3 layers of roof, including the original, get it down to the concrete base, and then go ahead and install a new roof and repair all the flanges and the drains and so forth. And this was a huge project, and it's done. We repaired the antenna. There's a 60-foot antenna which reaches up almost 100 feet if you consider the height of the building. And all the bases of the cables were rotten, and the antenna was in danger of falling. And that's been a real concern for many, many years. That's done. The antenna's been recabled, rewelded at all its contact points, and painted. It should last us into the indefinite future. Presently, the project in the rear of the headquarters driveway is underway, and if anybody's been back Clop Alley, it's a mess. We've reached out the whole driveway all the way out to Clop Alley behind the electrical department. All the sidewalks, shrubbery, everything's gone. They've taken it right down. They're bringing the gravel. So this project is huge. Along with the hot topping and the sidewalks, we're going to have an ADA ramp installed to here at headquarters, and that's part of the work we're continuing on the interior part of the administrative building to make the building ADA accessible, at least on the ground floor where citizens might come in for services. I'm looking into a project where we're going to get a study done to finalize changes on the bathrooms here to bring them up to ADA compliance. And as part of that project, I'm working to seek funding, possibly in next year's budget, to install a female locker room. We don't have a female locker room in this building, and it's long overdue. And we have we have 2 females in the department right now and a recruit female. So it's long overdue, and it will be put on the radar. We are going to get that done. It's one of my goals for the projects coming up. Future objectives for the fire department. As you see in our budget, we're requesting a pump. We look to replace a 26-year-old fire pump, which has long exceeded its lifespan. Fire pumps should be retired by 15 years, and they could be used as a reserve for possibly 5 or 6 more considering the condition of the pump. And in this instance, it's just not working. We have other pumps that are old and out of service occasionally for repairs, and one of them, Engine 1, has been out of service a lot. That one also is aging out of its useful lifespan and will be moved into reserve. So it's important that we continue to upgrade these pumps so that we're not caught with 2 or 3 pumps out of service. We had 2 out of service last week, and we had to run a ladder truck in place of a pump. That is absolutely not a good situation. And so therefore, moving forward with a new pump will greatly increase our assets here. Building maintenance, I have some line items in the capital budget for just building maintenance. We have 5 buildings to take care of, and it's just it's a monumental task just to keep them weather tight, keep the electrical services operating, and make repairs and so forth. So every penny of that will be put to good use, and I want to commend the firefighters that work in these outside stations and here at headquarters for putting in their own time to take the time to paint the buildings and make minor repairs and make the upgrades. If we're able to buy the materials, these guys are skilled and trained and willing, and we're very grateful that they help us out with some of the projects. For example, Engine 5 has an entirely new bathroom upstairs, which includes a shower, laundry area, everything completely redone by the firefighters at the cost of the materials only. So the funding that we receive in the capital budget will be put to good use and very economically. Moving forward, we're going to continue to aggressively train, and thankfully, with the support of the council and the mayor and the citizens of Salem, we're equipping our firefighters with some of the finest gear. An example of that is a grant we just received for $180,000 worth of funding available to buy SCBAs, which we have purchased, and they're the state of the art, and they'll carry us through for the next 10 to 12 years for service. Trying to keep the cost for capital improvements down. I've sought funding through many grants for radios, vehicles, fire apparatus, tools, and special vehicles. I mentioned the SCBA grant. We also got $20,000 through a federal emergency management grant for power tools. And we upgraded the vocal alarm system here. Some of you may have heard that the copper wires that run the city for the master box system have been failing, and we had a major failure on the South Salem side of the city, and it caused the vocal alarm system to fail. So the vocal alarm is basically when we communicate with the stations from fire alarm, we use a vocal alarm, and we can talk clearly through the speakers. None of that was available to us, so we had to rely on radios to dispatch our folks, and that's just not anything you want to have in a fire service. The vocal alarm repairs completed. We did have a free cash request to the mayor, which he approved. I think it also went through council. So those repairs are done and funded. we were able to use $20,000 from a grant to help make that changeover. The union just finalized a contract with the city, and it includes a 2% increase in wages. Those numbers aren't available to you. Anna from Finance will be submitting them very shortly, I've been told. So in closing this year, thanks to a conservative fiscal approach, we've been managing the fire department and planning with good discipline. We're once again able to submit a level funded budget to you. With the continued support of the mayor, the city council, the citizens of Salem, I'm confident the Salem Fire Department will continue to provide the highest level of public safety available for us in the city of Salem.
Thank you. So I'll start with a couple questions before I recognize Councilor Madore, who has her hand up. So I believe that that contract settlement is on our agenda for tomorrow. Actually, I believe that's on for tomorrow, if I recall from the agenda. So right now, as far as staffing goes, so how many are we down from our normal complement at this with all the retirements?
Presently, actually 11 positions.
Okay, and then so you have a first group of recruits starting next week. That doesn't include them. That will fill that.
No, the 11 positions, 6 of them are already hired.
Okay.
And we don't count them as, well, we're paying for them. I guess I didn't answer the question correctly. We're paying for them but they're not really of service to us till they're firefighter 1 and 2 certified from the academy. Okay. So yeah, we're not down 11. We're down technically 5, but I can't fill riding positions on the trucks with these guys or anything.
So how long is the academy for them?
10 weeks usually. This cycle will be 11 because they shut down for July 4th week.
Okay, so we should be getting that group on early summer.
I would say probably beginning August.
Okay.
And that'll make a huge difference because we've been ripping through our overtime budget with the deficiencies. We're also down some folks that are out on long-term sick leave. We have one that's retiring hopefully any day now, so that would increase our hiring to 6 more positions in addition to the 6 that are going to the academy. So trying to get some bodies here, it's tough.
Yeah, and I know we have the one pumper truck in the current in the bonding side of the capital requests.
That's correct.
I'm trying to just do a little mental inventory. I believe since I came on in the end of 2011, I think we've added 2 previous pumpers and 1 ladder in that time. So if I've got my numbers right, that will make for this year. That'll make 3 pumpers and 1 ladder. So what do we have still aging besides that? I know ladder 1, the extra utility ladder is is on the older side, and that was moved out of primary service when we got Tower 2. So
yeah, that ladder is 2001. At 2000, that ladder it's 21 years old.
Okay.
That will reach a point where we will have to replace that. We can't run with 1 ladder since we put that in service 5 months out of the year, and it's our only thing we can use should the other ladder break down. And even though it's fairly new, as you saw one day and took a photo, it did break down once.
Yeah, when 2 was out of service a few weeks ago for a couple of days. What else do we have as far as the pump trucks being for age?
So the pump we're looking to replace is a 1996 Pierce fire pump. We also have an Engine 1 2005 KME fire pump that's approaching 16 years old and cycling out of its useful lifespan. The miles are very high on that truck. It's used with high mileage. It was a demo truck. It was driven around the country. So to have a fire truck with over 100,000 miles on it is unheard of in a city like this. And it's really, we saved some money on the front end of that, but now we're paying on the back end with.
What station is that one out of?
That one, that's the main pump out of headquarters. So that one would move into the reserve position as the new Engine 6, and the new pump would be put into Engine 1's role.
Okay. So
and then we have the two Ferrera pumps that were hired since you came into council.
Yep.
Those 2018 and 2016.
Yeah, and then the 2. So, okay, just trying to have that all straight. Thank you. And I know, see, Councilor Madore has a question, so I'll recognize her. Councilor?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. Thank you, Chief, for that very detailed summary. My only question is, can you speak to how the the new engine that's in the CIP request, how that was procured specifically? Did you take advantage of collective bargaining with other regional departments, just to make sure that we got the best deal?
Well, we haven't put it out to bid yet. What the process will involve is we have the specs from our last two purchases, which was engine 2 and engine 5, and those are forever pumps. We're looking to build our fleet with all the same pumps, and everything will be built the same, so that when it's time to order parts, we have the parts, less downtime and so forth. As far as collective purchasing, all these companies that manufacture the fire truck are on the state bid list. And so that would be the finest pricing that we would be available to get. We could possibly see a cost savings if we could find a company that would sell us a ladder, a pump, and give us some sort of budgeting or discount, but we're not in a position to do that. So no, we do not have any collective purchasing powers at this time.
Why is that?
Why? There's really nobody in the region that I was aware of that is looking to purchase a pump, and we use the collective power of the purchasing. I was under the understanding comes through the contract bid list with the state. The finest pricing would be put together. Now, if we were looking to buy 3 or 4 pumps in a large city like Boston, they could probably get a better price. I don't know of any other communities right now that are in our district that are looking to purchase a pump.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councilor McCarthy.
Sorry, hit the wrong button. Thank you, Mr. Chair. 3 to the chief. Congratulations. I know it's going to be official, but congratulations. You referenced the amount of calls last year, and it was unprecedented. No one prepares you for what any of us went through in the last 14, 15 months. That being said, I know you just referenced that you're down a bunch of guys, and we have 5 new hires that are going to the academy, and we are paying them, but they're not on a truck, so you're paying them to be in training, so it's kind of difficult. And you also referenced some other retirements. When you look at the 11 positions, and some of those, just because of the amount of service in, or is it because some of the guys were into the amount of service, but also went through quote unquote what's been referenced in sometimes in the media as COVID fatigue? Like, it wasn't, this isn't the way they wanted to end their career. They're doing COVID, COVID protocols, the whole stress level. Obviously your job is extremely stressful to begin with, but the whole idea of, the unknown of COVID and all of that, did it get to the point where some of these guys, I've talked to a couple, they just said, you know what, I could have hung on for maybe a little longer, but I just, with what went on last year, I got overtired doing it, and I just felt like it was time for the best thing for me and my family was to get out. Are you seeing was that some of what we're seeing, or were we really anticipate, setting up 5 hires for the academy? Obviously that takes some planning. So, you must have been planning on some of them retiring, but were some of these other ones unforeseen? Because 11 people at once is kind of a big number.
Yeah, I definitely can speak to that. I can't say for firsthand if it was COVID fatigue that led to retirements. Most of these guys were right at their 32-year mark, and it is generally not cost effective to stay past that. Some guys choose to, and some choose not to. A couple guys left early. One wanted to move to Florida, and another person, I don't know, he just had enough. He left, but everybody else more or less retired at that 32-year mark. As far as the anticipation, back when COVID was happening, the mayor will tell you we were being very fiscally conservative about hiring too quickly in case we were deficient in funding and budgeting. And I think that may have caused a little lapse to the point where we could finally get back on our feet and say, yeah, we're going to go ahead and fill these positions. I don't think we anticipated 11 retirements. I think we anticipated 8 or 9. I think the chief's retirement wasn't generally anticipated until January. And by then, other people had decided to retire that we didn't expect. But I don't believe it was COVID fatigue that led to this. I think it was just circumstances that
Mhm.
came at us out of a direction that we were anticipating.
Okay. And the five other hires that you're interviewing for, potentially 6 if someone else retires.
Yeah.
We're looking to hire from other departments around wherever. I mean, I'm assuming you have a list out there someplace that you're trying to you're getting your interviews from. So
What we have is the civil service list that we always have to follow, as you're aware, I'm sure. But
Yep.
we can also look at the rehire list. And in Massachusetts, presently, there was only 2 guys on the rehire list, and they were from New Bedford, I believe. Neither one of them were interested in coming up here to Salem to work. As far as lateral transfers or anything like that, I wasn't aware of any just at present, but there's always an opportunity that someone could come in for a transfer, but you'd have to get their department to release them as well, because they've already invested a large amount of money to get them to point A to point B to train them.
good luck with that.
Yeah, right.
Nobody else will. So
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. I'll let the record reflect Mayor Driscoll has joined us too, and I'm sure she probably would like to say something about the fire department. So if you'd like to jump in, Mayor.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, and apologies for being late, a little bit double booked tonight. Just want to recognize the contributions of 2 new chiefs. We're really excited about the opportunity in our public safety teams to build off the enthusiasm. Chief Dion coming to us as a longtime member of the department who grew up in Salem, and Chief Miller coming to us as a longtime resident of New York City, both bringing different experiences. But I think for myself personally, and I think many members of our community and members of both departments, there's a great deal of enthusiasm about their start, and they've already both hit the ground running in ways that have helped our overall senior staff and our city planning efforts, and are both facing some of the same challenges regarding staffing and people leaving and sort of having to address turnover in a way that all of the academies are stacked and packed, and there's a long lead time getting in, and have sort of had to come up with some innovative ways to make sure we're still staffing all of the needs that we have within public safety. So I want to recognize Chief Dion as we move to his official swearing in shortly. And certainly when we get to PD, we can talk more about their programs there. I also say that we've always had a policy of trying to welcome transfers in, both in PD and in the fire department, as a way to get people on board, ready to rock and roll right away. And we do have some. There's a handful in both departments where it's really worked out successfully. Not everyone wants to leave where they're coming, and we probably don't want everyone who wants to be here. So there's some vetting that needs to happen. It is a way to bring somebody on board, and as I said, have them starting and available to us on day 1. Short of that, I think our recruitment efforts, and both chiefs know this because we've talked about it previously, is trying to make sure our departments are more diverse and more representative of the communities that we serve and our residents. So having active recruiting efforts, trying to ensure that people through the civil service process know when the tests are, doing everything we can to help folks support the effort of signing up at the right time. And frankly, at some point, having conversations around when we may want to think about alternatives to civil service to help us with a faster, more efficient, and hopefully a more diverse pool of candidates. We're not ready for those conversations yet. They've started and they've stopped and they've started, but I do think it's something we need to put on the agenda in a more long-term way. But for this year, I know both chiefs are doing all they can to both entice transfers, if that's a person that's going to work in our department and is capable and competent, while also trying to line up spots within the various academies. And I just want to, I guess with respect to fire, make sure we have a first-class chief coming in, serving us in the fire department as well as in PD. And I know that they're up to the task to trying to help us figure out how we can both recruit, train, and continue with the tradition of really solid teams in both places.
So I'm just going to bring back, so I have one fond memory from my first half decade doing this job was when we discussed the fire department, and Councilor O'Keefe would recuse himself and then just go hide right outside the door, and you could see him peeking into the room the whole time. For those of us who were here in those days, that's a very fond memory, and the Ward 4 councilor turning off his camera just isn't quite the same. for a
None of
recusal.
us, sir.
It was a lot more fun in the old days like that. No offense to the Ward 4 councilor. Any other members would like to ask questions of the fire chief? And if there are none at this point, I'd look for a motion. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I will say, Chief, when my kids were younger, and everyone wants to be a firefighter or a police officer or something, and I looked at my kids, and I tell anyone who says, I can't believe we expend X amount of money for, this or that, and I look at them and I say, it takes a certain mentality for a person to be running into a building when every other person is running out of the building.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it goes without saying, the men and women of your department, and your department as well as the police department, it takes a certain mentality to protect the public, and it's a higher calling. And if anyone who wants to take on that calling, I give them all the credit in the world, because it's true. If you have to, when everyone else is running out, you're running in, and that comes, and the men and women of your department do that fabulously, and I always have, and I hope they will continue, and I hope the old guard, or however you guys refer to yourself down there, takes these new recruits under your wing and teaches them how to do it the right way, and continue with if Council Flynn was just on this call, he'd tell you that, and he wouldn't be wrong, that the Salem Fire Department is the finest fire department on the North Shore. So, and I full-heartedly believe that as well. So, if you could pass that along to your men and women of your department, I'd appreciate that on behalf of the city council, because you guys do a fabulous job.
I thank you, council, for those kind words, and I certainly will pass that on to my rank and file. I firmly believe we are one of the finest departments, and thank you for recognizing that.
Thank you. All that being said, I've moved that we approve fire personnel in the amount of $9,052,600.04. I further move that we approve fire department expenses in the amount of $503,206 for a department total of $9,555,806.04.
Councilor McCarthy moves approval. Seconded by Councilor Riccardi.
Second. Yep.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion of the roll, Councilor Riccardi. Councilor Riccardi? I'm just...
Sorry, yes?
Thank you. Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So on the matter of the fire department departmental budget, we have 3 councilors voting, 3 in the positive, 3 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. 1 is recused. So thank you, Al. And
Thank you, councilors.
Good luck with this new group.
Thank you
Looking
very
forward
much.
to them.
Thank you.
Thank you. So with that, let the record reflect that Councilor Flynn is back with us. Thank you. And that we move on to the police department. And welcome to your first virtual meeting with us, Chief Miller.
Thank you very much. Just, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, just fine. And also, I'd want to give some thanks to our departing former acting chief behind you there. It's going to be a big step going to, rescuing cats from trees.
Thank you, Counselor.
We're going to miss you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. So, Chief, welcome to Salem.
Thank you very much, sincerely.
So if you want to start just work through this budget that you've just been handed in the last few days.
Absolutely. I hope you will forgive the probable lifelines that I will need.
Not a problem.
Goals and objectives in this year's budget. I think improved communications and transparency is among the most important. We want to update our website for regular and real-time communication of events and public safety needs, including furthering the uploading of policies and procedures. and daily call log for access by residents. Developing a communications board to support not just those communications, but social media, Facebook, Twitter, along with Code Red. We'd like to restart the Citizens Police Academy, which I know was enormously popular and I'm very excited about. I think September we'll hopefully be able to begin that again. Providing a complaint report for residents for ease of access, again, through the website. Here's a big one: implement body-worn cameras. This is mandated by criminal justice reform, not to mention a very good idea. Further legislative enhancements mandated by criminal justice reform. There are myriad requirements, many of which we already do, thanks to both excellent leadership in the past and the accreditation program that the department already participates in. On the topic of strengthening the city's reputation as a welcoming and inclusive community for all, we want to increase our civil rights hate crimes officers' engagement with the community. Hate crimes have been on the rise this year for a variety of reasons, and we've certainly seen corresponding graffiti and other acts of vandalism within Salem. So we want to engage with the community more in that regard. We also want to engage our law enforcement partners, both on the state level and the federal level. As many of you know, I have a background with the FBI, and I've already tried to use some favors to get extra attention on a regional level for those groups that are likely responsible. Providing officers with training, particularly cultural diversity and implicit bias training. As mentioned before, continuing efforts recruiting and hiring diverse candidates to the police department. I am happy to report that amongst the new recruits, and I'll get to the larger body of new recruits in a minute, but we have 3 Hispanics and 2 women amongst the 5 current Academy attendees. We'd like to produce an additional recruitment video similar to one done in financial year 2020 to encourage both greater diversity and just to reach a wider audience. I don't think it's a secret, but police recruiting has become more and more challenging throughout the course of the last couple of years. In general, we want to maintain a high level of all public safety, particularly as our staffing is slightly diminished. It becomes and with some of the more recent high-profile crimes in Salem, public safety becomes that much more critical. We want to, that's both a staffing, an overtime, and a training issue. We'd like to build stronger relationships with the fire department and EMS. And along with my fellow new kid on the block, we've already begun. Cover haunted happenings and other major events in Salem. Heritage Days in August, numerous road races, other potential public safety hazards. On the subject of haunted happenings, again, I'm sure I'm not telling you anything you don't know. The desire to be in Salem, to be out and about after a year of COVID will make it larger than ever. And it's going to be on Sunday, right? I expect Halloween to last essentially all weekend. That's going to put extra demands on us. And again, along the lines of I mentioned hate crimes, greater hate crimes attention from state and federal partners. In general, attempting to leverage relationships with other agencies and federal law enforcement agencies to address the more violent acts that have occurred in Salem in the last 6 months. Improved traffic and parking enforcement. I have already had numerous conversations with community leaders and residents about some of the traffic issues, some of the parking enforcement issues. I realize that's a perennial problem, particularly this time of year, but additional efforts there, I think, will benefit everybody. Enhance our use of technology in public safety. The antiquated radio system, along with the fire department system, are both due for replacement. We have grants in place that will largely pay for that, but the staffing and the spatial issues are going to be challenging. We have already invested in the use of hybrid police cruisers in 2021. We'll continue to implement this change to reduce overall gas consumption and reduce environmental effects. We have preliminary information that those hybrid cruisers are both no more costly in terms of maintenance and do provide some significant fuel savings. That said, our aging fleet did cost additional monies in financial year 2021 for maintenance. We'd like to implement electronic citation devices within the cruisers. We'd like to invest in more community cameras and install additional technology within those cruisers, basically generically to enhance public safety. Improve police community relations, build and foster more trust and legitimacy, continued participation with the City of Salem Race Equity Task Force. As Dennis has already worked tirelessly on that front, but I'm doing my best to prepare myself to step up with his departure. We've, I think the captains have really done an outstanding job in participation in various grant programs. The Med Project grant to provide a medication drop box in the station house lobby. The Port Security grant, which we've already talked about a little bit, provides for plate readers and cameras around Winter Island, and then 2 more proposed locations, on Kenwood and Blarney Street. Bulletproof Vest grant, which was awarded on September 24th of 2019. We're beginning to pick up those vests. In fact, I just got one. Justice Assistance Grant, also awarded in 2019 in the amount of $10,600 for the deployment of the department's strategic task force to provide additional patrol response. And that's tremendously valuable when community has specific complaints. We can devote officers immediately to that. Knox Alone grant, cops hiring grant, which initially provided $500,000 to cover the salaries of 4 officers. Unfortunately, the last $100,000 of that is being spent right now. Mm-hmm. CARES Act, ongoing submission for reimbursement of overtime police officers that have been directly expended on COVID-19 pandemic-related issues. 911 grant, 911 training, as well as salaries and overtime for officers and dispatchers to attend training. Mental health collaborative. As we seek to increase our ability to respond to people in need, particularly in mental health crises, we are seeking, in the budget, we're seeking expansion from 2 days to 5 days a week of one mental health clinician. But if we get our way with the mental health collaborative, we'll have money to provide for a second clinician. And I think that will be, it's both demanded on a national scale in terms of police response, and I think it's going to be very valuable in Salem. I mentioned hybrid vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
So ways in which that has all been reflected in the budget. We reflected a decrease because of expected already happened retirements and expected retirements of approximately $116,000. That said, there are associated increases as a result of one lateral transfer and 8 academy slots. I mentioned the cops hire program that has reduced our salary line is going away. Step increases for AFSCME employees, non-AFSCME civilian increases, part-time junior clerk position, seasonal custodial assistants. We've increased the haunted happenings line item by a little more than $20,000. This is because it was lower last year as a result of COVID. This year's number is in line with the last 3 years' average of approximately 176,000. We've increased police training by $50,000. That's again, as I spoke about in relation to criminal justice, this necessary criminal justice reform measures. Holiday pay increased approximately $52,000 due to that lateral officer and the additional 8 officers in the academy, 4 in the academy now, 4 anticipated academy slots. Longevity is increased due to anniversaries throughout the year, again, contractually. Senior master veteran increased to slightly less than $5,000, again, due to anniversaries and the contract. Stipends, approximately a little less than $13,000 due to agreed upon evaluation stipends for supervisors. And finally, education and shift differential has diminished slightly, but due to the senior officers who got a greater stipends, but that may fluctuate a little bit depending on new hires. As a result, for financial year 22, we're requesting a 7.05 increase in our salary budget.
Counselor, if there's an appropriate time, I'd love to chime in at any.
Yes, please.
Okay.
I was about to ask you that, so.
Okay, great. So a couple of things I want to call out in the police department's budget, and thank you, Chief, for going through that. Some of the increases, why they're warranted. There's a couple of areas, and some of this preceded Chief Miller's arrival here that I want to call attention to. One is the mental health clinicians. You know, the Salem PD has always been a leader in this area, very forward thinking with respect to partnering with mental health clinicians early. We have Danielle here for 2 days per week. We are hoping to increase that to 3 days per week, as was mentioned. And we're also in line, hopefully, fingers crossed, for one of the congressional earmarks as part of a regional effort, which really is due to Salem's urging to involve more mental health clinicians in the work that we do. Incredibly important in terms of the follow-up and the day-to-day service that we take on. And so we would love to have somebody here as high as 5 days per week as a goal, both to assist patrol, to work on the follow-up, and certainly either Chief Miller or Captain King can speak a little bit more to that issue. I just want to call that out because we hear about the opportunity for more mental health clinicians in policing. And I want to say we were early adopters of that and are looking to grow that even further. The other thing I would like to call out is just the additional training. We've got an additional 16 hours for a total of 58 hours of training. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going from my notes, and we talked about this in the budget. Why that's so important is, yes, there's the new law that was passed, and that's important that we undertake the training that's required there. But we really feel like the training is a necessary component that will enhance, officers' ability to not only comply with the law, right, the new legislation that was adopted, but as a way to arm our officers with, more professional development, ways that we can ensure, as we're thinking about whether it's implicit bias or training or microaggressions or a new law that is passed. There's a tremendous amount that officers need to know on a fairly regular basis as things are shifting. And the key is having the time to spend with them on that measure. There's another component of our contract called Chief's Time, in addition to the regular sort of trainings that are more formal in nature, that we also have at our disposal, or the chief has at his disposal, that can provide, if there's an extra emphasis that we want to place on something that a lot of departments don't have. So I want to, recognize that we are trying to support some of the shifts that we know are important and arm our people with information and training to help them do their job better. And I think people respond to it pretty favorably within the department. And these resources are, I think, a good add to the budget. That's one of the reasons the budget is up slightly higher than might be in a typical year, is because we're trying to provide some additional resources for police officers, both, those administrative roles and folks who are out on patrol. So just wanted to flag those two things.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Did Councilor Riccardi raise her hand first?
I'm sorry, I saw yours first. I also see Councilor Flynn has his hand up, but I saw yours first.
I'll let members of the committee go first.
Okay, that's your call. So Councilor Riccardi, you had your hand up, and Councilor Flynn, and
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just had a few comments and a quick question for you. Welcome, Chief Miller.
Thank you.
Salem. Great overview, first job. And actually the mayor answered a portion of my question. I appreciate seeing especially the increase to the training budget and the training line items. And I was going to ask for some more detail around that, around what training meant. It's kind of a broad term. I don't know if there's any more detail that can be provided, but I also wanted to comment probably in the past few months, maybe the past 6 months, I know Acting Chief King helped with some ALEC training for the staff and getting that funding secured, and I've just only heard positive reviews about that. So I really wanted to just reiterate just how important all of different types and avenues of training are. So if you could provide any additional information around that. I know a lot of it is still kind of being written and decided at this point, some unknowns. And I'll make all my comments at once too. I wanted to thank you for pointing out some of the goals and objectives, especially the communication. I think that that's always a low budget, high win item that really can get some quick feedback and quick wins. And it's what people want. They want communication. They want to know what's going on. And the body cams as well. I think I'm happy to see that we're reaching out for that. And also the Citizens Police Academy. That's another item that, as residents and constituents, I have never heard one bad word about the Citizens Police Academy. Everybody that has attended has provided great feedback. I've said that I have never attended it. It seems great. I got my first tour of the station last week. Thank you for that. So I think the transparency there is just a great win. I also wanted to make a comment about the mental health clinician. I was curious how the timing of that was going to work out. So if you could it's been said, but I just wanted some clarity on the roles. So it sounds like the current part-time would be an increased part-time in a second position staff, as opposed to increasing the part-time to full-time. So there would be two actual physical bodies in the role. I just wanted to confirm that understanding that I have is correct.
So, speaking generally about the training, I hope I've been consistent on this. There is no downside to police training, right? The more you train police officers, the better they respond to the community, the fewer civilian complaints they get, the less they go sick. Other than the cost of training, there's no downside. So if I could pick one hallmark for my tenure as chief, I'd like it to be training. That said, I'm going to defer to Dennis a little bit for some of the training that's gone on. And in terms of the mental health clinician, we want to increase the hours of the one we already have, as reflected in the budget. But if the grant comes through, we will add an additional body to that program. Dennis.
Yep. Thanks. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor Riccardi. The autism training was a phenomenal success here. Everybody went through it, and it really is a game changer. To have it brought to us by the community and the stakeholders that really wanted it and be able to get it done was a testament to the city and kind of the attitude and approach that we take to it. So thank you for recognizing that. It was a great training, and we had nothing but positive feedback. De-escalation, cultural competency, implicit bias, those are the real changers in the training council that we're going to see different, right? Everything around use of force revolves around de-escalation. So there's a much larger focus on actual de-escalation and use of force. So that's really important to talk about. There are some other tactical trainings that have to do with allowing officers to use less lethal. That is something that's very much around use of force. I'll say implicit bias. The MPTC has a training. However, we were very fortunate with partnering with Salem State for 20 officers to attend an implicit bias training by Dr. Brian Marks that gives a little bit different avenue, in which I really feel is a philosophy that needs to be brought forward, and it's about getting things done on that front. So we'd like to get more officers, if not the rest of the department, trained in that implicit bias. That's an example. But those are a couple of what we're doing. If we're able to get the earmark from the congressman through appropriations, we'll have 2 full-time mental health clinicians working every day, 5 days a week. The current DMH grant has been increased to help us with the cost of the 5-day, Danielle going 5 days. But there's a lot of regional effort around that. So really positive in all of those lights. And we are, there's a crisis intervention team training that goes along with that mental health money. That's really important that officers have. It's a very specific training around how officers handle those suffering from a mental health crisis. It's a proven training, and several officers have it. We're going to increase. And so mental health is another part of that component that, I talked about with the mayor during these last year. And so I'm very, very excited that we're able to do more of those.
Thank you. If Councilor Riccardi is all set with that for the moment, thank you. I'll note, I hope Councilor Riccardi and I were over there on Friday last week, and she got to see the station for the first time, and we hope Axel and Turbo are enjoying their toys and treats. So
thank you again for that.
That was fun to do. I'll just comment quickly before recognizing Councilor Flynn and then Councilor Madore. I think one of the challenges that police face, and I think Chief, you touched on a lot of this yesterday when you were sworn in, but police are challenged in that they're the only department, they and fire, the only department that's really there 24/7. So all sorts of tasks that normally might be done by other people, by a mental health clinician, by a social worker, they've been dumped onto the shoulders of police. And, I think a lot of us recognize that this is a challenge that we face and that police departments face. And so I know Salem, we're trying very hard to try and, make it easier on police to actually worry about policing and, and have, the appropriate people and the appropriate training to support things, as opposed to just, having people with no knowledge of a thing go straight into a situation. So I think we're making a lot of strides in that, and I look forward to the work that you're doing and your intentions here. So I think that's very positive. Councillor Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to first off congratulate Chief Miller. It was an honor being there yesterday as a firefighter and a city councilor. I could tell you that the words that you said addressing all of us, it really stuck with me. I've been thinking about it all night and today, and I believe you were brought to us for a reason, and I believe you're going to be a great leader for Salem. You're taking over the best police department on the North Shore, and it's really an exciting time working in public safety, having a new fire chief and a new police chief. And we've always had a great bond with the Salem Fire Department, and I'm sure this is going to continue through both of you two as the new chiefs. Captain King, I want to congratulate you, doing a great job since last summer. You really led the department in the right direction. It's not an easy time, as everyone knows, to be a police officer. And I want you both to know you have the support of the elected officials in Salem. We have your backs, and we're there for you. My only question is a brief question is, I reviewed your budget pretty closely. Is there anything in your budget that you would like a little more funding for? I want to make sure that you have the appropriate funds that you need going through the year. Is there any items on here that you think that need to be addressed a little more fiscally? And I'll let you answer that. Thank you.
First of all, thank you very much for your words about yesterday. I tried to speak from the heart, and I really will remember that day for the rest of my life.
Excellent.
Regarding your budget question, I think that, as I said, training will always be important to me, and one can never get enough training. But I do think this budget reflects our desire for more training. And then going forward in the future, I will always want more police officers, right? Salem is getting larger. Salem is getting more successful, and that's marvelous. But we're only at 92 right now, and the city charter, I believe, calls for 95. So I will do my best to recruit, and if I'm successful, I will be sure and come back to you.
Okay. One last thing. I know you mentioned community policing. I absolutely agree. That is huge for the community. Back probably in the mid-90s, Captain King can tell you, I was actually a reserve officer in Salem. I got hired with a large group. Captain King was one of them. And I remember back then, there seemed to be a surge in community policing. There seemed to be more activity with the bicycle patrols, the walking beats. I really thought that was really, really good, going down the Point area, the downtown area. And I noticed that people really seem to like that, you know what I mean? Instead of being inside the police cruiser, when you're out there walking around, I think the kids enjoy it, talking to the police officers. I think the elders, I think all residents, I think it's a great thing, even stopping in, the shops in Salem, walking downtown. You also had I remember Captain King can probably remember, they had those trikes. Do you remember those? I believe Shaq actually rode one of those in Salem back in the 90s when he came to Salem. Do you still have those to ride around in Salem during the weekends? Maybe doing some community policing with those, and the walking beat, the bike patrols. Is that something that you could see increasing over, especially this summer as we're coming back from COVID? And I think you're going to see a lot more people coming to Salem as more and more people are coming out.
I couldn't agree more about foot patrol, and particularly about bicycle patrol. I started the first bicycle patrol in Wellfleet some 30 years ago, and I have loved patrolling on a bicycle ever since. I think it provides a level of access to police officers that is maybe even greater than an officer on foot patrol. Something about the informality of a bicycle, it seems to make people happy. And so you will see more cops on bikes. You'll even see this cop on a bike. But we did last year. We had our bicycle fleet refurbished, so we're poised for that. And the captains know that's something that's important to me. Mm-hmm. I believe, and Dennis can confirm, that we do not have access to the segways anymore.
Okay. All right. Very good. Congratulations again. It was pretty special seeing your wife pin your badge on there. Very special event. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Councilor Madore, you had a question you wanted to ask before? There you are.
I do. Thank you,
you.
Mr. Chair. I have more than one question.
Absolutely.
I just love reading the police budget. Welcome, Chief Miller, again, and congratulations. And our gratitude to you, Captain King. I still like calling you Deputy Chief because in my mind, you're the Deputy Chief.
I have no objection to that.
So anyways, I have a few questions and they're mostly minor. And my mind works very strongly. My mind is very data driven. So every time there's a request for expense, I was wondering if there's any data that would justify the request. So I noticed that in the traffic enforcement equipment, it stated that the traffic division has identified the effectiveness of the traffic logic speed trailer. And I wonder if that was as a result of any difference that you observed in the data collection and reducing speed? Either
I'm going to defer to Dennis on this, but yes, I believe they are effective.
So Counselor, Lieutenant Tucker, Dave Tucker, the traffic division commander, handles all of the placement and works with the parking and traffic people to put them out there. But I know that there's a number of ways of how we determine where people are speeding. It's often complaints. It's often our own observations. But the follow-up is usually to put a device and capture what's going on at these locations, to determine if there is in fact speed is an issue. And so that data, Councilor Madore, is absolutely used to determine. So having another one of these devices to capture and either confirm or not confirm that there is an issue with speed, perhaps we can, Wilson Street, Highland Ave, areas of Bridge Street. It is much driven by that. And the council is always, or Lieutenant Tucker is always available to the council to answer specific requests on particular areas. And we do that quite a bit. And so this enhances that. I know that talking to the mayor prior about our need for another one, these are the things that absolutely help us with our traffic enforcement.
So I wonder if this tool is being used as a way to determine whether they're speeding or not. Is it considered as an investment that if there is in fact frequent speeding in specific locations or streets, then does that mean that the next step as a follow-up is to improve the street design through a CIP request, maybe changes to the street layout or design so that the speeding wouldn't take place anymore? Because we can go down this path constantly catching people speeding and ticketing and not really address the root of the problem, which is the street design. So I wonder if that's something that's been discussed rather than just continuing to monitor through these speed trailers.
I think that the mayor would have an answer for that. I can tell you that all of the traffic controls and the things that you're describing are part of the plan. So it depends on the street if a bump out would work. It depends on the street if a traffic signal would work, a crossing traffic signal. It really does depend on what we're getting in for information. But all of the traffic controls that you've seen in the last 5 or 10 years in Salem are based on data and designs and assistance through the state. I'm thinking about Bridge Street. I'm thinking about Mill Hill as we cross over to the new hotel. Those are the things that are driven. So yes, I believe they all have part of that, the development of a plan.
Maybe I could just piggyback off that a little bit to, I think the councilors know Lieutenant Tucker, who heads up the traffic division, SPD, sits on the Traffic and Parking Commission, works very closely with Dave Kucharski, is integral to some of the traffic calming measures, right, that we are trying to implement in neighborhoods. And I'd also just say, we're also not averse to using technology. I don't think roads make people speed. I think people speed, and if there are ways that we can introduce traffic calming to help address that, we want to. We'd also love to introduce technology. I know we passed previously the the red light cameras have been passed in prior years that the legislature has not approved. We have passed home rule petitions to allow for cameras in school zones, which has shown significantly to cut down on speeding in New York. We'd love to move forward with that again. We do need legislative action in order to do so. But I think our approach is a combination of monitoring, enforcement, use of technology, and trying to address if there are, striping or other traffic calming measures we can put in place to use that as well. And this piece of equipment is integral as we unpack what's contributing to speeding in neighborhoods and then work to avert that.
I'm just glad the mayor made the New York reference and not me.
Thank you. I think my priority here is, I think our goals are the same, is to make people not speed as much or at all, or reduce speed across the city. But traffic and speeding, it's close to the top issue that I get as a ward counselor. And usually we could ask the traffic officers to come and set a speed trap. We could have Dave Kucharski and his staff go out and take a look. We could do several different things, but at the end of the day, unless we redo or redesign a street to make it difficult for people to speed, then people will continue to speed. People will continue to try and avoid that ticket or that police call. So I think we all want to make our streets safer. And I agree with you, Mayor, that we need to employ all these tools, but ultimately we have to relook at our streets and see if they are conducive to speeding or not. So I'll just leave it at that because I have a couple more questions I want to ask. The tip 411 line, is that live right now? This is the first time I learned about it.
So it has gone live. It is one of those technologies that we've been working on. We haven't had perfect experiences with the implementation of it and the designer. And so it's been a project over years that we have invested in, and it is something that we do have that we have active. We have some other we have our anonymous tip line. We have our direct unrecorded line to the detectives. But it is something that we would, we need to make an integral part of ease of access to us. And it is one more thing that we're doing.
Okay, but there will be a public announcement made when it's fully rolled out?
In full disclosure, I believe we have, but I would need to confirm that, Counselor, in terms of like the application and us sending out, but we can always revisit it and I can get it out again.
Okay, thank you. One sec. So a few questions on expenses. I noticed that the line item under personnel, under wellness, I know that at least Chief Miller, you know this, and Captain King, you know this, emphasize mental health and wellness for officers when we were doing the interviews. And I wonder if this, can you provide more detail if this was intended for that use to support the mental health and wellness of our officers?
It's a contractual stipend, Counsel, that, yes, I mean, it's about wellness and requiring, I know what it is on the Superior side. It's you have to get a checkup. It's a contractual stipend. I'd have to go to the language of the contract to pull that out.
I also noticed that it was underutilized, and I wonder if there's an explanation for this current fiscal year.
No, it's so that stipend in particular is for superior officers to make sure and ensure that they get a physical fitness, and to that component there is a mental and physical wellness to that. But that again is a contractual stipend that's been there for many years.
Yeah, I think it's just when it's paid, Counselor. That's why it looks like it's underutilized. It will be fully utilized.
Yes, I'm sorry. You're right. So thank you, Mayor. So the Counselor, we have to submit proof that we've gotten the physical to ensure that we are in physical and mental health.
Okay,
That's why it comes in through various times in the fiscal year.
So related to that, I know that we're increasing the hours of the clinicians, which I think is fantastic. Will the clinicians also support our officers or just folks in Salem?
So Danielle's first 6 hours of her day is with police officers.
Great.
I'm only joking, but yes.
What?
She absolutely, Counselor, she absolutely supports the individuals that are in the department, and we have used her to rely and connect services for that. That is not specifically what it's for. She is absolutely a resource to the community and follows up on community members, but her presence in this building has connected members of our department to services.
Great, thank you.
I would note to that services in general are provided to all the city employees, including our public safety ones, through the plans that we have, that employees have. So
I have just two more questions. First, I really enjoyed reading, actually three questions. I really enjoyed reading the coverage in the Salem News on Chief Miller, and you talk a lot about bicycle patrolling, and I'm glad the Good Warfare Counselor Flynn brought it up as well. And I didn't notice that it was itemized on maybe increasing bicycles, purchase of bicycles, or under equipment. So I wonder if that's been discussed.
So we have a number of bicycles already. I think we have enough right now. That being said, we did send officers for mountain bike training already this year, and I think that's reflected in just general training. But I'm certainly open to doing more of that. How many officers are?
I think we're upward to 35 or 40 officers are trained in Cobweb.
And we have 30 to 40 bicycles?
No, but we couldn't put out 30 or 40 officers at one time.
We have a decent fleet of bicycles. I've seen them. They're amazing. They look really good. Okay.
And we also through the CDBG funding, we do have extra patrols that we have funding that we use towards bike patrols throughout the neighborhoods. So
Okay, great.
I don't know if that's reflected on this budget, but it helps.
So I'm fully supportive of police officers being on bicycles because, as you said, Chief Miller, they're much more relatable and approachable, more so than having officers in the armored vehicle. So I'm very, very fully supportive of that. And they get to use our bike lanes, which make them even safer. So the canine program, I always wonder why it's not included in the budget and relies on donations from our community. Can you talk a little bit more about why that's not included in the budget?
I mean, I think the main reason, and again, Dennis can correct me if I'm wrong, but the community is so generous about dogs, about our dog programs, that it hasn't been necessary. In fact, Janice and I have been talking about how many dogs we really need. It does, remember, every dog removes an officer from his regular patrol beat. So we're re-examining both how many dogs we need and what those dogs' specialties should be. Remember, you can have sort of general patrol dogs, but they tend to be of the more bitey variety, and then more specific explosive ordnance detectors, drug sniffing dogs, and then victim assistance dogs, and you can have a little bit of overlap there. Also, cadaver dogs, missing persons type dogs. The Shepherds and the Belgian Shepherds are not as good in finding lost people because they tend, as I said, to be more bitey. And I personally am more comfortable with less bitey dogs. So I think going forward, we do have one Belgian left, but going forward, I think we're going to move more towards labs. And I mean, I appreciate your willingness to fund that, but I think as long as the community will fund it directly, it's a really nice opportunity to involve the community in police programs.
And Counselor, there is much indirect cost that doesn't reflect in the budget, but that has been provided to the K-9 officers, the K-9 vehicles. So that's reflected in both the personnel, obviously through the officers, and then our CIP would reflect the support of our K-9 vehicles, which are specialized to the unit themselves. And the amount of funds that have been able to be raised for the upkeep, whether it's kennels, food, and the like, that's what's really unique, I think, about the community involvement here. They've been able to support that. But that number on a personnel level, vehicle level, training level, pales in comparison indirectly to the cost that we pay.
Okay, thank you. That's really good to know. My last question for Chief Miller, I'm curious if, so I don't know when you were involved in the budget process, but I would imagine that the budget was pretty near finalized when you started in Salem. And I'm curious your thoughts on what your reaction was when you read the budget, and second, what were you able to contribute to the budget that we see before us that may not have been in the budget before you arrived? That's all I have.
That is a tough question. To Dennis's great credit, he really went to work in the weeks and months before I arrived to make sure that there wasn't a mountain of work waiting for me when I got here. So yes, the budget was almost completely finalized when it was handed to me. Mostly my contribution has been approval.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any further questions from members of Council McCarthy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, Chief, congratulations. I know we've said this a couple times to you. I've been fortunate to meet you a few times. And please extend my congratulations to your family as well. We all know as elected officials, and anyone who sits in a position such as yourself or Chief Dion knows that by taking on a leadership role, it isn't just about you, it's about your family too, because the time that you spend with us is time you're not spending with them. So please extend my best wishes to them as you embark on this new period in your life. It's going to be a change for you and it's going to be a change for them, but let them know that we're welcoming you, and hopefully it all works. I believe it's going to work out very well, because everyone I've talked to has been very impressed, myself included, with your professionalism and how you conduct yourself. I only wish that timing, as we say in life, timing is everything. I wish the timing had been better, that Salem could have been served by both you and Deputy Chief King.
I couldn't agree more.
At the same time, but timing is everything. But I think it speaks volumes that the two of you are sitting on that same screen, knowing the fact that Chief, that you came in, but Captain King had passed up the opportunity to sit in your chair, but the timing was right, that he opted to apply for a job in a neighboring community and got it. I think it'll be great that you guys have been working together, and you'll be able to work together as chiefs in neighboring communities. I think that's going to really be a benefit, even though we are losing soon to be Chief King of Marblehead. And I think he is going to do more than just rescue cats out of trees, as Councilor Turiel alluded to earlier.
Well, he might have to help little old ladies cross the street.
Hopefully he'll be willing to receive questions from me, despite our.
It has been my pleasure to work with Dennis for a number of years, and I can tell you he will. Just knowing the makeup of the man.
Yes.
All that being said, the police department is it's one of those things that I referenced it when I talked about the fire department, is you guys run in when everyone's running out. And in today's day and age, with everything that's going on, it is I can't imagine a more difficult position sometimes than the men and women of your department are being put into. And I know from just as recently as Monday night, we were on a Zoom meeting together, neighborhood meeting of the Point Neighborhood Association, and you talked about the very things you've talked about now prior to you getting sworn in, about community policing, about bike patrols, about being out in the public, about being approachable. And these are all things that resonate with me, and I know they resonate with Dennis, because, you know, what's been missing during this whole COVID period is I look at, you know, some of what's been going on nationally and locally is obviously the result of COVID, but I look at, and I think Dennis can attest to this, is where we were with relations with specifically the Point neighborhood and some of the things that, you know, that's been highlighted over the last 6 months with some incidents that have occurred. Prior to that, every month I was at a meeting, and every meeting there was at least 1 or 2 officers present there to field questions, to answer concerns, and to be able to speak to somebody. Because a lot of times some people like to speak off the record. Some people like to, you know, after a presentation or after a meeting, take a police officer aside and say, hey, listen, this is what I've been seeing. I didn't really want to say it in front of my friends. I didn't want to say, but, you know, and I think that's what's missing. I think it's that one-on-one connection with the public. And I hope that we can reestablish that. And I think that, you know, some of the initiatives, you know, that we really need to publicize is the fact of the On Point building, when, you know, an officer's present, that, you know, the light's on, and then people can come in and know that they can have that conversation with somebody, and it'll be totally off the record. So it's better for the community, and it's better for everybody in the long run, that if, you know, we rebuild that trust between the officer who is, you know, doing the patrols and the public that's so, you know, wants the support in when they need the help. So it's funny because before you came on, Captain King and myself and the mayor and some other, did a neighborhood meeting at the church after Mass one Sunday, and after it was over, I spoke to I believe it was Captain King and Captain Ryan, and I said, how things have changed in 10 years. 10 years ago, we were in meetings and we were talking about bringing in cameras and help supplement policing, and the outrage that was, we can't bring cameras in. Someone's going to be controlling the cameras, and they're going to be zooming into my living room, and they're going to be watching what we're doing. And now it's come full circle in how we want to utilize technology to help the patrols. And I think that speaks volumes to the fact that, you know, in any neighborhood, people want as much, we want to take advantage of what technologies are available to us to help supplement and improve the policing, and on top of everything else that we see. Because, you know, it was just said, your department and the fire department are the only 2 departments that work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And you guys have become the clearinghouse of issues, especially off-hour issues, and how we, you know, utilize training to better train our personnel. I think, you know, with your experience in New York, I think that's really going to help and supplement and give the guys down there a new the men and women down, I should say, that the men and women of the force, a new perspective, and you know, advance the department even farther. The department does a great job, and I think that with your experience, I think you're really gonna. Someone said, you know, timing is everything. I think timing was right for you to step up when Captain King didn't want to. So kudos to you and your department for all that you do. Just really quick, we see it always around this time of the year. Do we have any more expected retirements? I mean, are we projecting any more? Because, you know, it seems like when we cycle into these things and all of a sudden we cycle out of them, then we hire all these new recruits and they're all of the same age. So it's a problem that someone's going to be sitting in these Hollywood squares, 30 years from now is going to be having a similar conversation because we're bringing in a whole bunch of people all at the same time. So are we prepared for the, expected retirements? And obviously, as I said to Chief Dion, some of those COVID retirements, like, okay, we've had enough of, I'm close, I could stay on, don't want to. Are we anticipating any unexpected ones, and are we ready to fill those positions with academy people?
So right now we're at 92. And I anticipate the loss of 10 over the rest of this calendar year, most of which are going to happen in July because of the contractual benefits of that. Right now, we have 5 in the academy. We just picked up a lateral, but that put us at 92. So that doesn't offset that 10. And I'm hoping to pick up 4 more over the course of the year. So to put in a future academy class this year. So that will bring us back to nearly where we are. However, it puts us in a real crunch period between now and the time that I get those guys out of the academy. That unfortunately, that time is going to come during the busy season of the summer and then October. So it's going to be a challenge. We're trying to shuffle personnel to kind of fill any gaps. And the mayor has already been very helpful in trying to come up with some incentives to keep people here a little bit longer until those people get out of the academy. But I will tell you that I have some real apprehension about the number of personnel. We'll have to fill the gaps with overtime, and if necessary, order in where it's an emergency.
Mm-hmm. I know you just referenced the fact that you have personnel in the academy currently. When is the next academy scheduled? And how often do they do them twice a year? Or?
No, so Council, there's several academies throughout the state, and so we have no allegiance to any one. We go where the available spots are. We just need available bodies. I was telling the chief that we probably, starting 6 or 7 months ago, ran 17 people that we had on our list that unfortunately only produced 6 people that could get through the background and pass our physical fitness. And so we have hope in 2 of them that perhaps could go to an academy a little bit later, but 17, and we ended up with 6. And so we started 6 to 7 months ago, that process. November is probably a realistic time where the next 2 will go. So we have 5 in right now. 4 just started this week. 1 started in May. I think that we'll be able to get a couple more in November.
Okay. So it's just trying to fill the gaps between now and November.
We need that 6-month period. That is going to be a tough period.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? And if there are no other questions, I'd look for a motion. Councillor McCarthy and Councillor Flynn also.
Al, if there's no other questions, I'll make the motion.
Okay. Councillor Flynn, did you have a question, or were you making the motion?
Nope, I was going to make the motions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
If there's no further questions, I move that we move the police personnel in the amount of $10,664,570.95. I further move that we move police expenses in the amount of $878,207 for a department total of $11,542,777.95.
So Councillor McCarthy moves approval of the departmental budget, police departmental budget. It's $11,542,777.95. Seconded and presented by Councillor Flynn.
Yes, second.
Yeah. Seeing no further discussion, call the roll. Councillor Riccardi.
Yes.
Councillor McCarthy.
Yes.
Councillor Flynn.
Absolutely, yes.
And myself, yes. So on the matter of the police departmental budget, with 4 councilors voting, 4 in the affirmative, none in the negative, the matter carries. Thank you, Chief, and I hope the recruitment process works well. I know it's a challenging time to become an officer, and there's a lot on their shoulders as they come on board. We've been pretty good with the people who've come into the department the last few years, and I'm sure you guys are up to the challenge. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Councilor Turiel, before we leave this measure, if I may.
Yeah, certainly.
I want to apologize for Councilor Flynn. At yesterday's ceremony, I recognized the councilors who were directly in front of me. And Councilor Flynn, you were, I think, right to my right or my left. So I apologize in the honor guard, and I missed naming you in attendance. It was not an intentional miss. I was just counting heads in front. So just wanted to extend my apologies for that.
That's okay, Mayor. Thank you very much.
So, thank you. With this, we go on to our last tab, literally the last tab in the budget, which is tab number 30 for our newest department, and the department that, if all goes well, more than pays for itself. And I like departments that turn a profit.
Absolutely. If I could just offer a few opening comments,
Yes, thank you.
and turn it over to Jenna to go through the details. Just want to say how happy and excited we are about the opportunity to leverage both Jenna's skill sets and the work of the Resilient Together plan that climate action plan we have been working on with the City of Beverly. The draft plan was just released earlier this week on Monday, and one of the things that this plan does, I think, better than others, obviously it's regional. Collectively, you have 2 cities that share a coastline. Both have colleges, both have hospitals. There's certainly a lot in common, and we're hoping to work together as we think about opportunities to put in place steps to improve and enhance the actions that we're taking relative to addressing our resiliency needs, our efficiency needs, and certainly our greenhouse gas emissions and climate change adaptations. We have done a tremendous amount of planning in Salem. I think we have vulnerability plans. We've done assessments on specific areas. This plan sort of puts all of that together, along with assessing where some of the behaviors and choices that we may have to look at from a policy perspective, and puts together a really robust action plan. The reason we really wanted to carve out a separate space for this work, I think, is twofold. One, because we're all running out of time. I mean, I think the planet's running out of time, and we need to do more and be more aggressive. And 2, because at present, this work is a little bit of everybody's work. It's a little bit of engineering, a little bit of planning, a little bit of capital projects. And when you have everybody doing something, sometimes you have nobody doing something. And we thought that having a defined purpose with an organization that has a roadmap with the Resilient Together plan would provide us with an opportunity to address this in a greater fashion. I would say just one other item that I think is relevant is we fully expect there's going to be grant opportunities coming down the road in the next fiscal year between federal resources and the state's, the state's climate action plan that they adopted, that we want to be in a position to seek those grants, administer those projects, and that really requires the sort of focus and drive that we have laid out in this new approach with this department. We probably could have doubled the amount of funding and the amount of people, to be honest with you, but we also are mindful of the impacts these things have on taxpayers, and wanted to ramp up with this opportunity and really celebrate the work ahead in a more focused fashion. So with that, I'll turn it over to Jenna, and also want to recognize the work that Jenna does, not only in this space, but managing many of our capital projects. She's been a great addition to the team here, helping us think more strategically about the work that we have on the capital front, but in particular, this expertise in ways that can both save resources, leverage grants from other areas, and not everybody has this, I think, the acumen and skills that she possesses. So looking forward to good work ahead with this division, assuming the council approves this effort.
So before we start, before Jenna starts, I'll just make a note for everybody. I don't know about your books, but in my book, we don't have a summary sheet. There normally is one for a department, but I think that because of the way this was put together, we may not have gotten it. So just for reference's sake, the numbers are payroll, the personnel budget is 184,893, and the Expenses budget, the non-personnel is 14,290, and the departmental total that I came up with is 199,183. So if there's any questions there, just so you all have correct numbers to work with for when we talk about this. So with that, Jenna?
Great. Thank you very much for having me, and you know, the mayor for the introduction and the opportunity to be here and sort of present a sort of a vision for the Sustainability and Resiliency Department. And I appreciate all of your time. I know I'm sort of the last, so I'm sure everybody's ready to go. So I have a PowerPoint just to sort of show you, and I want to acknowledge, of course, my team members, Esmeralda, Stacy, and many others. I work with pretty much almost every department on a lot of different projects. So I'm going to share my screen. Everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay. Do you still see it?
Yes.
Okay, great. So of course, the Sustainability and Resiliency Department, a big part of this is sort of implementing Resilient Together, but it's also, we've been sort of various pieces of this, as the mayor talked about, have been in different departments, particularly planning and engineering for a while. So the mission statement, the department would oversee sustainability, energy, and resiliency efforts within the municipal government, either directly managing programs or projects or coordinating with other departments. We would also engage and support Salem residents, businesses, and nonprofits to participate in activities that further the goals. This might be participating in Mass Save, getting solar, or making their home more resilient. We're going to align and in many cases exceed the state of Massachusetts goal of carbon neutrality by 2050. That goal was just passed recently in April by the state. We've always been a leader in sustainability and resiliency, and we want to continue to be a leader. And this climate plan has 70 plus action goals. And you know, me and the mayor and everyone else, I'm all about the action. We've done a lot of planning. You know, as you can see from various construction projects around, I'm about sort of getting it moving into the actual implementation phase, sort of from vision to doing. So the overall, as Councilor Torrio pointed out, this is a new department, personnel, and then the non-personnel line, 184,894, and the non-personnel 14,290. So the net operational increase, because Esmeralda is a transition from engineering, I'm capital funded, and then the proposal is for, since I will be working on non-capital items as well as capital, to sort of split that. So 2 staff are transitioning from engineering, that's me and Esmeralda. There is currently grant funded part-time position in planning, that's through the Green Communities Act, that's Stacy's position. That position would be full-time. That would be an outreach. Both Esmeralda would lead up the outreach and sustainability efforts, and then Stacy would also be supporting that. There's a huge amount of sort of engagement with other departments, engagement with the community, pulling together toolkits, working with residents, working with each department, working on different projects to sort of work through all of that. And then there would be a full-time energy manager. The energy manager would be working a lot, not only with all the departments, but also in particular the schools. We work closely with them. They are the biggest energy user for municipal government. And so a lot of the opportunities to save energy are there, and obviously a lot of opportunities for education. And then a clerk accountant would be added to help with all the necessary activities. So in total, the change is 2 FTE to 5.5 FTE, and the non-personal budget is for office needs, training, and a paid internship program. So the internship program sort of follows on the Resilient Together Ambassador program, whereby we will pay local residents, people going to college, et cetera, to really help with this outreach. In particular, a lot of these festivals, these events we have, the neighborhood meetings, you know, really getting out there, posting, really working directly. Our goal, like both Esmeralda and Stacy speak Spanish, and our goal is to have our ambassadors really reflect our community and be able to engage with our community. So this department, and I say this, like I said, our staff, particularly out of planning, but been in various places. I took over Jeff Ely's responsibilities when he moved on. So I'm sort of taking from all the work that has been going on in the last 5 or 6 years. So we've saved over $500,000 annually for city and utility costs. That's brought in over $250,000 in revenue annually. This is mostly from the solar on Witchcraft and Bentley, but it also comes, we've received over $150,000 in utility incentives this year, from the Bentley boilers to the library HVAC project, and from electrical vehicle charging stations. We think that even just in the first year, we work in the departments, we can get an operational savings of about 5%. So maybe we just looking at our energy costs, potentially 90 to 100,000 in additional savings. What we really want to do is sort of start larger projects, but those take more time, so you probably won't see those right away. Our Power Choice program has, this allows residents to, we sort of do bulk procurement to get better rates. And the annual savings of $600,000 to residents and businesses since 2016. In addition, the city spends over $19 million on electricity alone. That's residents, businesses. So if we work with the community and say we save 10% for them, that would be per capita of $40 a year. So that's per person, per account, or per resident. That would probably be more over $100 or more, obviously, depending on how much they use. Recent accomplishments, the Resilience Together Action Plan, that's been a year-long effort with the city of Beverly. It's been really interesting. City of Beverly is so similar to us, almost the same exact size, on the ocean, historic, a lot of things in common, many differences. They're much bigger in land, but I think it's been really helpful to kind of see all the different approaches and really kind of bring together. The PACE program, which you recently approved. We were awarded a MAPC grant in partnership with the city of Beverly to conduct community engagement and training, and this is a big part of our push. We solarized Mass last year, resulted in 52 solar or air source heat pump installations in the city. We completed a Rocky Mountain Institute Building Electrification Accelerator Program, and we have an MOU with National Grid that would sort of set goals for participation in Mass Save throughout, not only with the city buildings, but also throughout the city. And that will result in higher incentive levels. So that's a great program. These are a bunch of projects. I won't read them all. But they talked about the 6 new electric vehicle charging stations. As you know, from the sort of, you've probably seen all the news, the goal is to get pretty much most fleets to electric, most cars to electric by 2030. You may have some of the heavy duty vehicles still lagging on that, but we need to have the electric vehicle charging infrastructure in place to support that. And there's great incentives from National Grid right now. The new Birchwood facility will be zero net energy, 27 kW of solar, Forest River, 22 kW, also zero net energy. And we just procured a new Salem Power Choice, and also we manage the electricity supply contract. And these are a variety of projects that I, Esmeralda, Stacy, all kind of support various departments with. Ongoing activities, we track our energy use, and that's part of our Green Communities Act funding, but also helps us understand how and where energy use. And so we do that energy tracking as well as diesel and oil. The energy contracts, we manage utility revenue incentive programs, we staff the Sustainability Energy Resiliency Committee, track emissions, and participate in larger regional energy sustainability related committees. This may be the North Shore Municipal Aggregation Group is looking to see if they can sort of not only have like a Salem Power Choice, but like a North Shore power aggregation, which may result in even higher savings, so larger procuring. This is a lot here, but overall, this is 2022, our goals is to really, there's 30 proposed actions in the Resilient Together plan related to outreach, education, training, et cetera. So it's really to kind of pull those together. We have some toolkits to sort of further that about all these different programs and really try to engage with citizens and residents, and really happy to work with any counselor on ways to sort of get out there, the word out there. Working with the planning department on policy and ordinance changes that support Resilient Together. We also expect the first year to save 5 to 10% of utility costs. I talked about that. We want to initiate a large comprehensive energy project. We'll see that under the school's capital plan for our energy audit. In general, those would be paid for potentially by some grants, incentives, and also through the savings. So that's a large project. Based on my experience with over 100 of these, I think we could probably achieve 40%, but that means it's a really big project we have to work toward. Utility incentives, we have solar. We have potential to do solar about a megawatt on properties that we're working through. And we have a CZM grant to really do a comprehensive analysis of resiliency and the coastal. And we're sort of targeting an area. We've done sort of a large analysis. You can see the map behind us. We really want to target an area, do an alternatives analysis, figure out and really engage with the community on some of these things may be a structural solution or a hard solution. Some of the alternatives may be, better emergency planning, better community place for them to go. But we really think the area of the Point neighborhood and that area is one of the highest at risk and some of the most important resources, sort of critical resources in the city. We're also going to be taking an opportunity with National Grid to do a vehicle fleet analysis to determine how we can get to zero emissions. And they have a company that's expertise is in how to figure out which vehicles make sense to change to hybrid or to electric and, and where the best incentives are for that. And you continue to lead and support signature parts and other department capital purchases. And the Resilient Together draft plan, I'll send around this link, this presentation, but that, the link to that, please send around to your constituents, please comment on it. It's a really great plan. There's a lot of stuff in it. And we want to hear from as many people as we can. And that's it. I just want to, obviously, you must have questions. And once again, thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks for that, Jenna. So I mean, it seems to me like a solid idea to put these functions into the same department and to have them under one roof. That's something that's an effort that's been scattered across a lot of different aspects of the city over the last few years, especially as we increase the work that we do on this. So I'm glad that we have something going in this regard, and we're bringing it out of engineering and planning and all the other little places for one point of supervision. So I think that this makes sense. And as I said before we started this, unlike a lot of departments, this is a department that actually brings brings some benefits to the public and also brings a return on investment directly. So and saves the taxpayers money ultimately. So. I'm pretty positive about doing this, and I think it makes sense. So I see any other questions or comments from Councilor McCarthy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to the mayor, and thank you, Jenna, for your presentation. I guess it's a new department, and I see the 50-50 split. At what point do you envision Jenna and everyone going directly over to this and after like a year or so, and then so that she's solely in this department, or do you continue to see this be a split between her duties between the sustainable department and the capital improvements?
I mean, for the foreseeable future in this fiscal year, we're anticipating this 50-50 split. Jen is a victim of her own success, right? She does such a good job on the capital side. We don't want to lose her completely there. And we know that she's got both the skill set and the ability to do the resiliency work so well, especially starting off on a new department. She's grounded in the projects. And I want to say there's like a lot of overlap. Some of the capital projects are, fall within this wheelhouse. We've talked about this when we were setting this up. Frankly, there's other capital projects that we want to make sure we have a resilient eye towards. So her being able to be in the position of seeing what the full landscape looks like and also leading the resiliency effort, hopefully will give us a leg up in other capital projects and making sure we're not, sheeping out or shirking out of taking maximum resiliency opportunities and efficiency opportunities in some of those other spaces. So that's what we're proposing for now. It's new, and we're gonna work our way through it. But I think we're capable. Jenna's very capable of managing this. We're going to drop some of the capital stuff, so we'll need somebody to pick up some of those pieces. And there are a number of projects that are purported in the next fiscal year, so we'll work our way through that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Any other members of the committee? Councilor Riccardi.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had a similar question about the split, but first I want to say thank you for the presentation, and I appreciate to the mayor, I appreciate the focus. This is a crisis. I say that all the time. It's not a drill. We need to have the focus here, and I appreciate that the city is actively doing that in literally a more focused way, instead of having places and people in different spots, to have that unity and really one department looking over all of that, I think is a smart move, and will help lead us going forward. There's a lot to do, and it'll be good to have that level of focus on it, and to have Jenna leading, I think is an excellent idea. I definitely had questions about the split. I think that was covered, but I also want to make sure that with Jenna still having her hands in the capital projects, but it's obviously the big projects have a big effect and big impact, but it does also include smaller projects as well throughout the city. So really kind of all projects have that sustainable view. But again, this totally makes sense. The fact that I think it was on average over 500,000 saved for the city for this department that's just under 200,000. So it's a win-win of not just economics, but of the earth that we will be living on. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the committee, or we've a couple other councilors still here? If anybody wants to ask Jenna any questions on this, this is a good way to redo the org chart, basically, in my opinion. So, if there's any other questions for Jenna in this, Councilor Riccardi.
Sorry, no, I did not have another question, but I did notice that a participant has their hand raised. I know we haven't, this is actually at the very end of the budget season and the first time I've noticed any hand raising, so I didn't know if you were going to take any public comment.
I wasn't anticipating it, but let me take a look. So, okay, yep, we do have one person, and I'll let him in. Hang on a second. So, So Jeff, name and address for the record, and please keep it brief. Thanks.
I always keep it brief to the need. So Jeff Cohen, 12 Hancock Street, Vice Chair of Sustainability, Energy, and Resiliency Committee. And I personally believe this is long past due. I think if you look at the numbers, it's pretty impossible that 2 people and a part-time person have accomplished all this. I'm a big fan of working with Jenna and Esmeralda and Stacy. It's really amazing the work that they do and they can do. I think it's always a drain to try to believe that you can access resources from existing departments. And this, as Councilor Riccardi said, it's not just should be a priority. We're facing a climate crisis, and Salem has endured it. The most vulnerable areas in Salem from a resiliency standpoint have the highest ratio of marginalized people from marginalized communities. So this is really a big deal. I really hope that this will pass unanimously, and I'm really excited to visit the new department in person. Thank you, Jenna, and the mayor and everyone on the council.
Any other comments from members of the committee? If there are none, Councilor McCarthy.
I'll too be looking forward to the new department. I think Jenna just might move her desk from one side of the office to the other. I'm not sure she's actually going to move someplace, but and I will say that she may have been the last budget, but she's set the bar high for next year. She was the only one to come in with the PowerPoint presentation for her budget. I know it was the first time, and then she wanted to make sure we understood what was going on, but the only budget this year with a PowerPoint, I think that was very well done, and I wish you luck And I think that this department will serve the city well. So with that, if there's no further discussion, I move that we approve the department personnel in the amount of $184,893.50. Am I saying that correctly? And then I further move for the expenses in the amount of $14,290 for a department total of $199,183.50. And I will look to the finance director to make sure I did that right. And she's
All right.
not. That would be typically when I would look over my shoulder.
Yep. So Councilor McCarthy moves approval of the departmental budget 199, 183.50. Second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Riccardi. Seeing no further discussion, Councilor Riccardi,
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
and myself, yes. So on the matter of the sustainability departmental budget, we have 4 councilors voting, 4 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Thank you, and thank you all for going through 4 nights of this. So tomorrow evening, at the regular standing meeting time of 6 p.m., we will be tackling the 2 bond orders, the short-term CIP, and the 5-year capital plan. So those are the 4 matters that we've been discussing throughout the last, the projects on all these we've been discussing throughout this. So we'll be taking care of the votes on those tomorrow, and then it'll be the annual budget dance after that. So thank you all for going through these last 4 days worth. These last 4 budget days. It's been a tight and interesting season this year. So, if Mayor?
Yeah, I just want to ask our city finance director to offer a comment, because I think we may have just some clarifications needed on the police budget that was voted upon. Anna, do you want to say more?
Yes, thank you. And apologies to the committee for this. I just noted that there may be an issue in terms of the number that was voted on, and that there appears to be a discrepancy in the number that is on the summary page versus the numbers that are on the detail page, and the number that is on the summary page is unfortunately incorrect. My sincere apologies. It looks like the committee may have received an older version of the summary page. So I can walk you through where the discrepancy is and what the number should be. The number and the number, what the number should be, is the number that is reflected in the sort of the bottom line of the mayor's budget, and also on the vote sheet. So if you look at tab 13 and on the summary sheet there, under the
right now. Thank you.
Okay.
If you could, what's the new total, Anna?
So the new total, it's an issue that impacts the personnel line. So the new total for personnel, one moment. The new total for personnel would be $10,724,000.
I see that.
So $321. Actually, I have it rounded up, but I can give you the exact. The issue is that on the specialty stipend line in personnel, under the mayor's budget, it's only reflecting $4,500. I think that there was a formula error in the background of this version. Apologies that I did not catch that made it into your binders. If you go to the backup page, though, the total, 3 pages in, the total there is $10,724,320.95. So the total will be, I have a rounded number. The expenses would not change. One moment while I just.
You said that comes from the specialty stipend primarily?
Yes, and so if you are on the backup page there are 2 lines that add up to the total on the front, and it looks like it only pulled, on the version that the council unfortunately received, it only pulled one of them.
Oh, okay, I see.
So it pulls from the specialty stipend on the bottom of the first backup page of $59,750, and then it pulls from the $4,500 on the top of the second page. So that was an unfortunate formula error in our sheet.
Okay.
So the new total for the salary and expenses would be $11,602,527.95.
527.
Not 95.
So if I could see a motion from a member to Councilor McCarthy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to revamp the motion with regards to the police department total budget. I'd like to make it that we amend the budget to include the personnel discrepancy. So the new total would be $11,602,527.95.
Okay, let me just note this. $602. I just had to put this in the notes correctly.
Somehow the new chief got through the budget meeting with more money.
Yeah, no, I could. Looking at the sheets there, the error is pretty clear once you look at the detail stuff. So, Councilor McCarthy moves to amend the police budget to reflect a corrected total figure of $11,602,527.95, which is from a corrected personnel figure of $10,724,320.95, which corrects a error in the detail on specialty stipends. So, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Councilor, thank you. Second, Councilor Flynn. So on that amended police figure, we call the roll. Councilor Riccardi?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Thank you. And myself, yes. So on the matter of the amended or the corrected police departmental budget, we have 4 councilors voting, 4 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Math gets hard at this after 4 days. So, apologies for us, rolling through that. So on that note, like I said, we'll see you all again here at 6 o'clock tomorrow, and we'll complete the budget process. Until then, everybody, have a good evening, and I'll see you all tomorrow.